Glenda, those negotiations continue. I spoke with a spokesperson with the UAW a short time ago. She says they are still talking to Ford and Chrysler, and this week it could be a big, momentous occasion in these negotiations because the CEO for Chrysler, Sergio Marchionne, will be in town, and he will be sitting down for the first time at the bargaining table. GM workers wanted a bigger piece of the profit pie, and it would appear they'll get it. But the question now is, what does the future hold for workers at the other auto companies? Analyst Jim Hull says these negotiations are very different than in years past.
The problem is that a long time ago they used to have pattern bargaining where they would pick one target, come up with a contract, and then they would get all the other guys to settle up for that one. That doesn't work anymore. The issues at Chrysler are radically different from the issues at General Motors, and at Ford, yet again, a third variable.
The presidents of GM's locals will be in town next week to pour over the details of the tentative deal. The agreement would give workers a $5,000 signing bonus and give new employees on the lower pay scale a raise between $2 and $3 an hour.
We have a huge number of baby boomers that are getting into the retirement age. As they backfill, GM has to have enough workers to keep critical mass up to build product. You're going to be hiring those workers at the lower tier, and I think there's a concern, not just on the part of General Motors, but on at least one of the other companies, that during this contract, as you start accelerating the number of boomers that retire, you can find yourself in a position where you've got a labor shortage. And if that's the case, an extra $1 or $2 an hour is going to get you more workers than the guys that don't do it.
In GM's tentative deal, rank-and-file employees would see profit-sharing checks tallied from North American sales rather than just U.S. sales. Management also agreed to reopen GM's plant in Tennessee and add about 400 new jobs to the Warren powertrain plant.
One of the problems is that you have rank and file and people that say, well, now that you're making money, give us back everything we gave you.
All right, so here's the deal. There are two very important negotiations going on at this point, as you know, Ford and Chrysler. Ford's situation is pretty different because they have an indefinite situation extension going on with the UAW. That happened last week, but Chrysler should have their negotiations wrapped up by midweek. That's at least according to the extension that they agreed to last week. And also there's a little bit of tension, Glenda, because you have Bob King, the head of the UAW, and Sergio Marchionne kind of going back and forth. A letter was sent to Bob King from Sergio Marchionne last week because Bob King was not at the table when Sergio Marchionne flew in from Europe. So we'll see how this all plays out. Let's send it back to you in the studio.
We'll have our eyes on it. All right, thank you, Tom, for the live report.